Hello and welcome to the APA workshop. My name is Professor Sliwa and I teach psychology here at the Arizona College. Because I have quite a bit of experience and knowledge with APA writing and researching, I was asked to put together this presentation for you. So along with CJ Burnt, your Student Success Coordinator, I have created a short workshop for you that introduces APA. I am passionate about all things psychology, but I am also passionate about research and writing. So with that comes a necessity for me to understand APA. Hopefully, this is just an introduction, but hopefully in the near future, we will also be providing more advanced workshops. So stay tuned. Today, I will introduce APA using the 5 W's. So the who, what, where, when, why of APA, but I will also be providing you with some basic rules and a few very quick activities that you can do on your own to see if you get it. Okay. So before we get started with APA, I would like to start by talking about active learning. Here at Arizona College, we expect you to be active learners. Okay, but what does that mean? What does that mean? For us as instructors, we are actively engaging our students by including discussions, problem-solving activities, case study analysis, role-playing, etc. Okay, we want to keep you actively engaged in the learning process. However, there is a greater degree of responsibility on you as the learner to play your part as well. Okay, I know for example, in my classes, I have my students take personality assessments and fill out surveys because I like to make learning personal. I know that when we make learning personal, it makes it more meaningful. And when learning is meaningful, it's more likely that the student will care and will retain that information, okay? So again, the responsibility is on you to remain actively engaged. We are here to assist you and to guide you through this learning process as much as possible, but you must remember that your education is your responsibility, okay? So although you are not watching this workshop live, I would like to ask you some questions along the way. So when I say pause, I strongly suggest you pause the video and try to answer the question, okay? So first question, what do you think are some characteristics of active learners? Pause. Okay, so hopefully you came up with some ideas. Some common responses that I have received in the past are proactive, studious, respectful, attentive, right? Students who care are engaged. So really the crux of it is that to be an active learner, you must be engaged in the learning process, okay? So let's start. What is APA? Now that we know what active learners are, let's take that with us through the rest of this presentation, okay? So what is APA? APA stands for American Psychological Association. The APA is responsible for creating and maintaining APA formatting. The current edition of the manual, the formatting manual, is the 7th edition that came out in October of 2019. So please make sure that when you are writing and researching using APA, that you are referring to the 7th edition, okay? An APA formatted paper consists of 5 basic sections. Now, we are specifically referring to an APA formatted student paper here. There is a difference, or there are differences between student papers and papers for publication. As a student here at Arizona College, you will not be submitting papers for publication, so you should be following student formatting. Okay, so the 5 basic sections of a student paper are the title page, the introduction with thesis, the body, the conclusion, and the references page. In more advanced APA workshops, we will specifically go over each section in greater detail, okay? But that just gives you an idea of what an APA formatted paper consists of. Okay, so who uses APA? Students who are studying in the social sciences like psychology and sociology use APA, but also students who are learning medicine. So that's why we use APA here. You are all here. It's a nursing school, so we are using APA. I have quite a bit of experience in APA because my undergraduate degree was in education, and education majors also use APA. So I've been using APA for many, many, many years. Why do we use APA? Well, any type of formatting really provides us with consistency and the ability to organize. And it's very important when you're writing a formal paper that your thoughts are organized. Okay, so when you are using a consistent format every single time, then that consistency lends to better organization. Okay. Why else must we use APA? We must acknowledge the works of others. So when you are when you're writing a paper or creating a discussion post or anything, and you are providing information from a source, you must cite the source. And we do this by citing in text. And then we also provide a references page or a references list. So for in-text citations, you will either paraphrase the material by rewriting it in your own words, or you will directly cite the source. Anytime you provide information from a source, you must, regardless of the assignment, you must cite that source. Okay, so let me discuss some basic rules for in-text citing. Okay, in-text citation should look as follows. If there's one author, then you will have the parentheses, the last name of the last name of the only author, comma, space, the date of the publication, and then parentheses, period. Okay, two authors, you must join the two authors by an ampersand, and then include the date. Three or more authors, you will use et al. Et al. Implies that there are two or more authors after that first author's name. Okay. Directly quoted material must include a page or paragraph number as well. So you'll see Parker 2020, page 12. If there isn't, the general rule is if there's a page number, then you always provide the page number. If there isn't a page number, then you must count paragraphs to find where your information is coming from. Okay, so page example is P period 12, and then paragraph is para period 5, or whatever the paragraph number happens to be. Okay, in past editions of APA, you did have to list all authors' names the first time you cited them. And then after that, you were allowed to use et al. But they changed the rule. So you are no longer required to list all authors' names. If there are three or more, you can always use et al., which makes it easier, right? Less typing. Okay, so here's an example of a paragraph that I took from a journal article. I just copied and pasted the paragraph into this slide. So the very last sentence, I wanted to show you what it would look like to paraphrase that last sentence and to provide an in-text citation for that source. Okay, so you'll see the highlighted sentence says the basic philosophy of complementary and alternative medicine includes holistic care, which focuses on treating a human being as a whole person. So using the rest of the information in that paragraph and then specifically focusing on that last sentence, I paraphrased, okay? And I wrote, the holistic approach of treatment focuses more on the whole person rather than on specific symptoms. And then I cited the source, Tabish, comma, space 2008. Tabish is the last name of the only author of this article, okay? So even though I took Tabish's words and reworded them, I still need to tell the reader that the information came from this source, okay? Example now of a direct quote from this same source, a different paragraph, but the same source. I highlighted it. So naturopathy focuses on non-invasive treatments to help your body do its own healing. You'll see that I encapsulated the quote with quotation marks. And then you see Tabish 2008, page 9, because that's where I found this quote. Okay. All right, so not only do we need to cite in text, but we also need to provide a list of references after our work. So in an essay, that will be on your references page. If it's a different type of assignment, like a discussion post or a PowerPoint presentation, you will have a specific area set aside to provide that list of references, whether it's after a paragraph or maybe on the references slide, etc. But somewhere you must include a list of references. Okay, so here's an example of a full citation from the source that we were referring to on the last 2 slides. Okay, so Tabish is the last name. SA are the first and middle initials. 2008 is the date of publication. Complementary and alternative healthcare, is it evidence-based, is the article title. International Journal of Health Sciences is the journal name. 2 is the volume number. 1 is the issue. And then 5 through 9 in numerical Roman numerals, those are the page numbers. So if you went to this journal, the International Journal of Health Sciences, and went to page 5, you will see this article, 5 through 9. Okay, and then the very last item on this citation is the permanent link to this article. Okay, I would like to show you what that looks like. So how do we find this source? I am going to go to this link for you because I want you to see what it looks like. So if you provide a permanent link, that link should take your reader directly to that article. Okay, let me show you what it looks like. So I followed the link and here's the article. You'll see this is published by the National Library of Medicine. This is a .gov website, so therefore it's scholarly. It's actual published scholarly research. The name of the article here, Complementary and Alternative Healthcare, is it evidence-based? Saeed Amin Tabish is the author right here. You'll also see the date, 2008, 5 through 9. All the information is here, right? And then if you scroll down, you will see the paragraphs that I provided, okay? So this is what a published journal article looks like, okay? All right, so let's go back to our presentation. Okay. So a couple things, I want to break down this citation for you. So you'll note that the author is there, the date is there. The article title, something very important. In an article title, only the first word of the title and then the first word after a colon is capitalized, if there happens to be a colon. Not every title is going to have that. So complementary and is, those are the only 2 words that are capitalized. In a journal title, we have the International Journal of Health Sciences. The journal title must be capitalized and it also must be italicized along with the volume number. Remember I said the number following the journal title is the volume number, so number 2. So International Journal of Health Sciences, comma space 2 should be italicized, okay? And then you'll always have you might not always have an issue number, but you should if it's provided, and then the page numbers where this article can be found. Lastly, as I said, you will either have a permanent link to the article or the DOI. The DOI is a digital permanent address, okay? So it's a database locator. anytime you use that, you look for that DOI, if you search for that number, it should tell you exactly where that source is located, okay? So it's just a permanent locator, permanent digital locator. Okay. So here's what a references page looks like. So this would be, it could be a list of references, or it could be an actual references page if you're writing a paper, okay? So you'll see that the word references is centered and it is bolded. You will also see that the references are all in alphabetical order and that they contain a hanging indent, which means there's an indent starting with the second line of each citation. Okay, so I would like you to try something right now. I'm going to ask you if you could figure out how to cite the first source. So if I was taking a sentence from the source and rewording it, so I'm paraphrasing it, and then I need to cite the source, how would I do that? Okay, so here's the source here. And then a reminder again of the basic rules of in-text citing. Go ahead and pause and see if you can figure out how to do that. Okay, so hopefully you noted that there are five authors listed here, which means we use et al. Okay, now please make sure you know that whenever you are using et al. And you're citing, you must cite the first author listed, okay? This is a very common error. Do not just choose an author out of the list. Do not pick the last one. It has to be the first author listed, okay? So in this case, it would be then Flynn et al., period, comma, space, 2020. Hopefully you got that right. You can, if you want to, list all authors, and I have the example there for you, but it is not required, okay? If there are 3 or more, then you use et al. Something else I want to note, when you include an in-text citation, the period always goes after the citation only. So do not put a period at the end of the paraphrase material, and do not put a period at the end of the quotation. You only put a period at the very end of the site after the citation, okay? All right. So when will you use APA here at Arizona College? I've kind of already touched on this, but I really want to drive it home that you will use APA any time you provide information from a source, every time. Okay, so obviously in papers and essays, but also when you're writing a discussion post or creating a PowerPoint, or like in my class, my students they make brochures. So on that brochure, they have to set aside a specific space where they can list their references. Okay, so you absolutely must cite your source, regardless of the assignment. Okay, so where can you go to get help with APA? Of course, you can ask your instructors, right? But you can also go to these places. So the American Psychological Association, obviously they're responsible for this type of formatting. So it makes sense then that you would go to their website. You could go to apa.org, but specifically you should follow the link that I provided here, because it takes you to APA formatting. If you go to apa.org, that's just going to take you to the homepage, and it might not be that easy and quick for you to find where you need to go. So follow the link there. It takes you directly to formatting. You can also go to Purdue OWL, that's provided by Purdue University. Purdue OWL is an excellent resource. I personally use Purdue OWL, and so do many of my colleagues whenever we have questions. I also gave you the link here that takes you directly to APA formatting. I want to warn you though, if you do use Purdue OWL, please make sure that you're specifically clicking on APA, because they provide formatting all types of formatting, not just APA. So make sure you click on APA. In Canvas, you can also visit the LRC for APA help. If you click on the LRC from your dashboard and then click on the gold button that says APA, that will take you to information regarding APA. I believe there's a template as well that you can access there. Additionally, I strongly suggest you get yourself a manual. If you're like me, you like the actual material that you can hold and flip through the pages, then I strongly suggest you get the book. I looked on Amazon.com. I took a little screenshot for you. This is what you should be purchasing. It's the 7th Manual Made Easy. It's a guide simplified for students. Remember I said there's a big difference between papers for publication and then student papers. So this manual is specifically simplified for student use, okay? And it's only like $9.99, I think, on Amazon. I was also told that you can find a version on Kindle for only 99 cents. So that's a steal. Okay, so get the manual. I strongly suggest it. Okay, get the manual and refer to Purdue OWL. Okay, that's what has worked best for me over the years. All right, so that was a lot of information. You know, depending on how much experience you have with APA, that might have really frightened you, but don't panic. Okay. We are not expecting you to become an APA expert overnight. Any type of formatting, research, writing, it takes practice, it takes time, okay? But it's very, very important that you learn this information. We do expect you to take it upon yourselves to learn the basics, but again, we don't expect you to be experts. In addition to what we expect, you know, we expect you to take it upon yourself to understand and learn and apply the basics, but we also expect you to be an active learner, right? So that's where that personal responsibility comes in, okay? If you have any questions about any of this, feel free to reach out to your instructors. And if they don't know the answer, they will help you find it, okay? Or direct you to the right person who can answer that question. So remember, we're here to help you, okay? And if you have any questions, please reach out, okay? See you at the next workshop. Thank you for being here.